All right, and good evening, and welcome to tonight's OU Update Show. We'll be talking a lot about the last couple of weeks, or excuse me, the last week of what's been going on in OU football. Some recruiting news, obviously some big news about the transfer portal and NIL and things of that nature. That's what we'll be discussing tonight. So, we'll bring my co-host on, Chris, here in just a few minutes, but want to thank everybody for coming out. Remember, tomorrow night we still have a show with Vern. We'll be talking still more college football. Tonight is all about OU. Tomorrow will be more about the Big 12, the bowl games, the past bowl games, and the upcoming national championship game. We'll be talking about that tomorrow night, as well as it's a brand new year, so we got brand new Dash of Life on Wednesdays now. The OU show will be moving once I get a new date for when Chris and I can do that. I'll let you know. But until then, we'll be doing OU football tonight. So bring on Chris here real quick and we'll get started. And then once we get added on here and get connected, we'll get going. But thank you all for coming out and enjoying the shows. And here we go. Hey, brother.
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
I've been good. We're gonna talk a few things tonight, and I'm probably getting ready to say something that's gonna upset a lot of OU Sooner fans. Get over it. Get over what's going on. Yes, Caleb Williams has entered the portal. Again, that doesn't mean he's leaving. He's just checking his options. Guess what? The NIL is here to stay, folks. And they're going to use it to their advantage. And I hope that they do. I am a firm backer of the NIL and what these kids are doing for themselves. Now, that doesn't mean I want them to get billions and billions of dollars, but I want them to be able to handle themselves. I mean, we'll talk about Nick Evers here in just a minute on what he did with his NIL today. So Caleb's probably, you're right, Chief. He's probably gone. And so, you know what? That's football. It's not like it's the first time a quarterback has ever left a college or a university.
But here's the thing.
I'm not too worried about that.
The last time a quarterback left, well, a major quarterback. We had Rhett Bomar transferred. Guess who came in to fill his shoes? Sam Bradford.
I mean,
you remember old Sammy, right?
Right. I mean, so like I said, I'm reading Twitter, I'm reading Facebook, I'm reading all the social media. Everybody's like, "Oh, Oklahoma." You know what? If you really want to go look at the portal and see who's in there right now, there's only two that really matter. Oh, everybody's leaving Oklahoma. 4 of the people that are in the portal I never even heard of, and I'm an OU fan.
Yeah. You care about Mario Williams. You care about Caleb Williams.
Yeah, you care about Mario. You care about Caleb. If he's gone, he's gone. If he's not, he's not. I'm not upset because that's life. That's football. College football has gone the way of the pros. We know it. At least in the free agency. And I use that in quotations. Free agency.
In theory, that's what it is. Listen, I mean, you hit on it, and the NIL is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. These guys are getting paid to play now. That's the deal. And you've got to, if you want to keep Caleb Williams, Booster's going to have to step up. You know, I hate to put it that way, but literally that's what it is. Like, I get he wants to sit here and claim, you know, he wants to do what's best for his future, and you know that could be true. Again, that's one of those things where we don't know. Only him and God knows what his real reason for entering the portal is. Is it for money, or is it really? Does he really want to see what his options are? Does he really see a future here at Oklahoma, or does he see a future somewhere else? And nobody knows that. Nobody's gonna know that. And you know, we could sit here and we could talk all day about him leaving and boo-hoo and cry about it. Listen, I wasn't shocked when I saw it. We both talked about it. We knew it was an option. there was people saying, oh, well, if he would have left, he would have left by now. I don't believe that, because everything that I was reading was how good of a guy he really is, like a good stand-up guy he is. And I believe that if he was going to leave, he would have done it after the OSU game like Spencer did. He wouldn't have hung around a week or two before the bowl game and then been like, wow, you know what, I'm going to enter the portal. No, he wanted to see it through. He wanted to see the season through. He knew he was the starter. Spencer didn't have anything to lose when he left. When Spencer Rattler left, he was already coming off the bench. He knew he wasn't going to go in and start in the Alamo Bowl. He had nothing to lose going into the portal. The only thing, he had everything to gain because he was going to get to go, start practicing with his new team before the winter break, because South Carolina had a bowl game.
Right.
So, he got that time with the new team before going on their winter break and having to report for spring ball. Whereas Caleb, he was a starter. He had everything to lose. That would have made him look bad if he would have entered the transfer portal before the bowl game, and maybe not look bad, but it would you would question his character at that point. And I think he stuck it through. He did what he was supposed to do. I wasn't shocked when I saw it. I wasn't shocked when I saw one of the wide receivers, and he came out and straight said, "Look, I don't know what Caleb's going to do, but I want him to be my quarterback." So basically, where Caleb goes is where Mario wants to go.
Yeah,
so whether that's here, next year or it's elsewhere, hey, best of luck to him. We can't get mad. The second that happened, what OU do? They went and flipped somebody who was literally supposed to start classes that day at UCLA. He was scheduled to start classes.
Yeah.
And back then, I was like, wait a second. Oh, you just lost their quarterback? They're going to give me a chance to come there and play? I'm in. So Dylan Gabriel, I didn't know him from, Adam. When I heard him, I was like, okay, well, cool. Let's, he was a 4-star. He couldn't have been that bad. So of course, I go and I look him up. His rating over the last 3 years is over 150. Granted, this past season, he,
had an injury.
His season got cut short, but I like his touchdown to interception ratio. 2019, 29-7, 2020, 32-4. So he got better. 60% completion rate in 2020, 59.3 in 2019. So they're not in bad shape. And then you sit here and you can look at, their recruits coming in, and one of the ones that obviously stands out is Nick Evers, 4-star quarterback out of Florida. And he's already come out and said, of course, what freshman coming to the University of Oklahoma isn't going to be ready for a challenge? So we're not short. I had a buddy of mine text me, and he texts me anytime. He's a Texas fan. You know him, Craig Virion.
Yeah.
One of my best friends. And every time something happens with OU, he's the first one to shoot me a text. Granted, I have like 15 sports apps that I normally am getting the updates anyway. So by the time he actually texts me, I'm like, yeah, bro, I saw that 3 times already. But every time he does, he says something. I was like, man, he was like, what'd he say? He was like, it's still going downhill or something along those lines. And I was like, bro, they're going to be fine. Like, yeah, we're losing a top quarterback. We're losing a good receiver. We've got plenty of other talent. We've got a 4-star coming in at quarterback. Granted, he's a freshman, but we also then right out of the gate, like I said, we get Dylan Gabriel. Can't be mad about it. Yeah, he's coming from a smaller conference, but
listen. Social media has made us spoiled, okay, ladies and gentlemen? Social media has made us spoiled. I guarantee you, if we didn't know any of this stuff that was going on, we wouldn't have nobody would care about what was going to happen at the beginning of the season. I get it. We had, they say the same thing when Aikman broke his leg and Jamel Holloway came in and took us to a national championship. Were they like, oh, the minute that happened, was it all over the news that, oh, OU's done? Come on, people. Give me a break. Just get over it, because it's either way, OU's going to be fine. Are they going to win 10 games? Hell, I don't know. The 2022 season hasn't even been played yet, so I can't answer that.
We haven't even hit spring ball. It's people. But again, we lost Rhett Bomar. way back in the day. And again, like I said, guess who stepped up? A guy by a 3-star, mind you, a 3-star Sam Bradford came in to replace Rhett Bomar. What happened there?
Yeah.
I mean, it went on to win the Heisman. What was he, the first round pick in the NFL draft to the St. Louis Rams?
We talked about this last week, and I'm going to reiterate it this week. Stop looking at stars by kids' names. Stop it. We've seen 5 stars fizzle. We've seen 2 stars, 3 stars come in and be first-round draft picks, just like we just talked about. Stop paying attention to the stars by their name and let the coaches do their jobs.
Yep.
Just because some podunk newspaper wants to give this guy more stars because he's from their hometown than he wants to give another guy who's probably better because he's not from his hometown. That's just the deal. I get tired of these stars, and we're not. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. I've seen 5 stars fizzle. Spencer Rattler, for example. I like him. I still like him, but he didn't show me any 5-star this year. Caleb did.
No.
But at times he looked like he wasn't ready for college football. Let's be honest. There were times he looked like he was not ready to play college football. I get it. Stop paying attention to the stars.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. You can't. Players are going to be players. You know, it really comes down in theory into who wants to be more successful at their craft. If you're going in to play a certain position, who wants it more? You know, a lot of people don't like Kevin Durant, but I tell you what, he made a quote, and I wish I could remember it off quote word for word off the top of my head, but you know, it's who puts in the work. You don't have to, you know, when life gets tough, you get tougher. Yeah. So these players are ready. These players came to the University of Oklahoma. If they've made it there, they're obviously good at what they do. Now it's a matter of the coaches, like you said, doing their job. And I'm trying to get back to my original screen here, but you know, you talk about the coaches. They just picked up another good coach. Yeah. You know, they pulled one of the defensive. I think it's a defensive line coach.
Yeah, Varia from Clemson, I believe, who's going to come in and be the associate head coach now. So,
and this is a guy that is supposedly, from what I've been reading, is a heck of a recruiter. Yeah. You know, and that is, I mean, obviously he was on the defensive staff with Brent Venables. We already know how good Clemson's defense was, and now, you know, we're just adding to another piece. And now, you know, rumor is they're trying to get the quarterbacks coach from Alabama. Yeah. And that, like I've read, I haven't seen anything official, but from what I read is like they're going to sign him. And again,
yeah, I think it's pretty much a given that he was coming after the championship game, if I'm not mistaken, because they were talking about it. At least on Twitter today, his name was brought up a couple. I can't remember, but I should have wrote it down. But yeah, he was brought up a couple times. And listen,
yeah, that's what I was trying to get back to my original page that I was on, and it went away from me. But
they're going to recruit how they're going to recruit. We're still sitting 10th, even after.
I thought we moved up.
No, last I checked yesterday, we were at 10th. We might have moved up today. I didn't get to see one today.
I thought I had read something where we moved up after they got that running back that committed
from Vegas.
Yeah, and I will tell you his name in just a second. I'm trying to find the defensive coach that we just got. Bates.
While you're looking at
Todd Bates.
Yeah, Todd Bates. So I just heard Casey Thompson. If y'all don't know, Texas quarterback. His dad used to be quarterback at Charles Thompson at OU. Has narrowed down his top 5, I guess. He went into the portal. What is the odds that we get Casey Thompson? Say Caleb's gone, which we're pretty sure Caleb is gone. There's no doubt about it. We're pretty sure Caleb's gone. Let me just play on that. We get Dylan Gabriel. What's the chances that we get Casey Thompson to come in as a backup?
I mean, you've got to think that there's a chance. You've got to think that OU's his dad coaches here, or did. I don't know if Brent Venables retained him, but I know he was on the coaching staff, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
I don't.
At OU?
No, Charles Thompson was that I know of. He wasn't. I just know he was still in the area because Casey going to Southmore or one of the Moore schools. But he
played. There was a Thompson but he played at OU.
Yeah,
maybe
Charles
wasn't coach. Yeah, he played at OU. Yeah. So I mean, obviously he still has ties in the school. But played football here in high school. You got to think that there's a chance. And I tell you, I mean, if Caleb is gone and he comes, now you're talking about a quarterback battle. That would be the talk of spring ball, would be Thompson, Gabriel, and Evers for a QB battle. So, I mean, people are worried about it, but I don't see it. And the recruit that we got was Javonte Barnes out of Nevada, the 4-star running back. So he committed after the
game the other day, the Under Armour game.
Under Armour, yeah. So
that gives us now 2 for 2022. That gives us 2 4-star. I mean, again, I hate saying stars, but that gives us 2 4-star running backs. We got Sawchuk, and now we got this kid coming in. I mean, I'm not worried again, and I'm not worried. And as fans, I think they get wrapped up on certain things like, I mean, we got spoiled, and let's be honest, we got spoiled from 2000 on, or 99 on. We got spoiled as a fan base because we went through that 90s where we had really rough seasons, and now we've got 24 straight seasons where we're above 500. 24 straight seasons above 500. That's wow. That's wow. I mean, literally wow. So,
yeah. And I mean, and people are freaking out thinking that, man, like, you're right. OU fans have gotten spoiled because if they don't win 10 games, if they don't go to a Big 12 championship, the season was a complete disaster. Listen, we've got a whole new coaching staff. We're losing players. We're gaining players. Listen, the program's fine. The program's not going. And I'm telling you right now, and you could tell by the coaching staff that's being built, this coaching staff that is being built to move to the SEC.
Absolutely.
Because in order to compete in the SEC, you have to have a top-tier defense. I mean, they're going out. They got Brent Venables as their head coach. They get a defensive coach that was with him at Clemson. They're going after Alabama's defensive backs coach. And you're talking about a defensive back crew that we've had that's probably been one of the weaker spots in our defense for years. We've always had decent defensive line, decent defensive line backers, but it's our secondary that really that we've struggled with. And so they're building this. And while I say that they're building around the defense, they're still not shying away from offense. You go get one of the best offensive coordinators in the country from Ole Miss, an SEC school, who's had a top 10 offense the last couple of years in the SEC. So this team is building for, their move to the SEC. And so people need to say, wait a second, let me settle down. Let's let this, come to fruition. But does it take a year? Does it take 2 years? Maybe. Anytime you have big changes, that happens. But I promise you, it's not going to be like at Texas. We're not going to go 5-7. Okay, our down year is going to be, going 8-4 or 9-4 or 9-3, whatever. Like, it's not going to be a down year. That's going to be our down year, I should say. And you can't get mad when you're still winning games. All right, come talk to us when we're sitting like Texas is sitting at 5-7. All right, Texas hasn't done well in a handful of years. Yeah. So we have been lucky to be where in the position that we've been at, going from Bob Stoops, having a seamless transition into Lincoln Riley. And then now, and that was a seamless one. This one was a sudden. Okay. So it's not like he got fired or decided to retire. He chose to leave. That's fine. We're moving on, and that's fine. I just love the direction that they're going, because I truly believe that they're setting themselves up to move to the SEC.
Speaking of, our Lincoln Riley video has hit over 200. That might not be a lot to people, but to me, that's fantastic. We've hit 200 views on YouTube. Thank you to everybody that watched that video.
We got to keep sharing it. We got to get it to 300 now.
Yeah, we'll get it up there. But that was awesome. Our first, in fact, that is our first video that we've done together. That's a pretty good milestone for us. So hopefully we'll get some more out there. We got another reoffer to Micah Tees out there in the Booker T, Washington. I believe it's Booker T. They reoffered him today. I believe he's going to take it. I'm not sure. I just know that he was reoffered. He was the one that I believe decommitted after all the Lincoln Riley stuff.
Gentry Williams? Was it Gentry Williams?
No. Micah Tees. Tease. Tease. Micah Tees.
Yeah, I saw. You know what? I remember seeing that now. I was trying to find him on their list because I'm sitting here looking at the list of offers that they actually have out there, and
I know he was reoffered today because he did after the whole Lincoln Riley debacle. He decommitted, but I think he's got a reoffer because he didn't commit to anybody that I'm aware of. But so he was reoffered again today, I believe. There's a Tulsa University lineman that has been as well entered the portal, and he has mentioned that OU is one of his top places to go. So all these people complain, and what I'm getting at here is all these people are worried about the portal, and they forget that we have benefited. OU has benefited from the portal on numerous occasions. So now that we're finally losing people to the portal, I think they're a little, now it's unfair. But you can't benefit from it and then
get mad about it
when other teams are benefiting from it.
Yeah, I mean, it works both ways. And here's the deal: is this is one of the things we talked about when we did our Lincoln Riley video, right? One of the things we talked about was like people were freaking out about, people entering the portal. Listen, yeah, he entered the portal. Mario Williams entered the portal. So did Theo Weiss.
Yeah. And
it took Theo Weiss a couple of weeks, and he said, you know what, never mind. I want to stay at OU. I tell you, Caleb Williams described it the best. He can't explore options without entering the portal.
Right.
It's not like the NFL where you as a player are going to be, you're in the off season and you're like, you know what, let me go talk to other teams or whatever it may be. Like, you have to go through certain processes in order, like, if you're deciding like, hey, if you're questioning anything that you do in life, you have to go through a process, right? It's no different than Caleb Williams. If he's questioning whether or not he wants to be here, then you as an OU fan should question whether you want him here.
Right.
Because do you really want somebody that's not committed? Do you want somebody that, is unsure about his place on the team that you cheer for? I've seen a lot of things that are like, listen, if he wants to go, let him go. Because, and that's what it comes down to. You don't want somebody, if you're passionate about your team, you want the person that plays for your team to be devoted to your team. Just as you are. As devoted as you are cheering for them, you want the players to be devoted for playing.
Yeah. Just like we talked about. Just if you're not happy at your job, are you going to stay at that job? You're going to go and look for options that are better for you.
Yep.
Caleb stuck it out. He stayed till the bowl game. Maybe he's not happy here. And that's okay. If he's not happy here, let him go somewhere where he's happy. I get it. We want to have this awesome quarterback. He's a 5-star. He beat Texas. I get it. I totally understand your feeling and frustrations on
But he
it.
also barely beat Kansas.
Yeah. But you got to let him do what he's got to do. And again, and I said at the beginning of the program, and I'll say it again right here, right now. The portal and the NIL are here to stay, and they're good things for these kids. If this kid, let's just say a kid went to we'll just use USC because we're talking about Lincoln Riley. A kid goes to USC, he's from Oklahoma, or he's from Texas, or he's from wherever, and somebody in his family gets sick. Now he has an opportunity to transfer in the portal and come to, maybe it is just Arkansas, but he has an opportunity to come home, be closer to his family. I'm okay with that. I'm absolutely 100% okay with that. Even if he was going to win the Heisman at USC, you know what? My family's more important. I can go out and play college football at Arkansas. So what? He's going to do it, and that's good for him because he has a little control over what he does for himself, along with the NIL as well. These guys get a little bit of autonomy for themselves. I get it. Some of these guys are going to go get $1 million contracts from big red sports cars or whatever the case may be. Or
let's be real. Anyway, they were already getting paid.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not sit here and pretend like top college players weren't getting benefits prior to the NIL. All the NIL did was now make it legal. So now schools aren't going to get in trouble and, forfeit a bowl season or lose a championship that they won, a few years back, or the Heisman lose his Heisman trophy, like Reggie Bush. Listen, let's not sit here and pretend like they weren't already getting paid. Like these kids were getting some sort of benefits for going to certain colleges, and it's just now it's legal, and it's like you said, it's not going anywhere. The portal is a great thing, and you can't sit here and get mad for a player entering the portal when, like you said, we benefit from the portal. We got Jalen Hurts in the portal. We've gotten many players out of the portal. You're going to lose players to the portal. And again, we're not even guaranteed that he's going to leave. Am I going to be shocked if he does? No. I would honestly probably be more shocked if he does choose to stay. Yeah. But it's not out of the question. So don't freak out. We've literally already, it took less than 24 hours to benefit from the portal after he entered the portal. Dylan Gabriel may not be Caleb Williams, but he's also not some dude playing street ball. So, I mean, we're talking about a kid that has thrown over, 7,000, close to 8,000 yards in his young 3-year career. And one of those was shortened by, a lot of games. Like he only had 102 pass attempts in 2021.
He got a broken collarbone on non-throwing shoulder, by the way, folks.
So, I mean, in the games that he played in 2021, he went 70 for 102. That's 68%. Threw for 814 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So let's not act like we're getting some
bum.
Some bum, out playing yard ball. No, like this guy is averaging in his 2.5 years 60% accuracy, 156 rating, and has thrown for, actually it's a little over 8,000 yards, 70 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. The kid's not bad.
And he wants to play here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he wanted to come here.
He wants to play here. He only took UCLA because OU was not open.
Yeah, so but hey, that's smart for him. He knew, hey, they got Caleb Williams. I'm going to go to a school that I can have an impact in, and it's going to be good for Evers. I'm not a fan of seeing a young freshman quarterback coming in and getting thrown into the fire. Yes, we saw Caleb Williams do his thing against Texas, but we also saw what he did against Kansas and the other games that he struggled in. Like, he wasn't always just coming out and awesome. And I'm not saying it was all on Caleb Williams. There was a lot of it on the O-line, a lot of it on not being able to do establish the run game. But, still as a quarterback, he had his struggles. He still made mistakes as a young quarterback. I like it better when you can get a young quarterback sit behind a guy like maybe Dylan Gabriel, who's been in the league for 2.5 years.
Right.
So, a young quarterback benefits from that, especially if he can come to the Big 12 and he can have success.
Yeah.
All Evers is going to do is benefit from that. He's going to learn, be able to sit back, and say Caleb Williams does come back. Again, we're going to be set. We're going to be either way. We're going to be fine.
We're gonna be fine.
You can't
that's
look at the Big 12. You've got Oklahoma State and you've got Baylor. Texas, you don't know how Texas is going to be.
But I just want to piggyback on and you were talking about it earlier, and let's just talk about Baylor real quick. Let's talk about what a defensive-minded coach going into a big bowl game or just a season, a defensive-minded coach, mind you. Aranda is a defensive coach. He just went in there and went balls to the wall with Lane Kiffin during the Sugar Bowl, and his defense was fantastic.
That was a defensive game all around.
Yeah, and so I want you to that's what we're doing. And maybe we're not going to score 60 points per game. Maybe we're not going to put up Madden-style numbers or video game numbers, I should say. The fact of the matter is, OU's not going to decline. And we haven't even played here. At least we haven't played a game in 2022. We haven't played a snap in the SEC. So I don't know how you can make projections based off of, well, I'm an SEC guy, so I know they're going to lose when they come in. Good cripes almighty. The SEC hardly had won a bowl game this year. Yeah, well, some of them sat out because that's going to be the factor from here right now on. And we're going to talk here in a second. We're going to talk here in a second about opt-outs here in just a second. But that you can't use that as an excuse anymore because opt-outs are here to stay, folks. It's just like the NIL, and it's just like the portal. Opt-outs are going to be there. So stop giving me an excuse. Well, this versus hell, the entire Oklahoma defensive line was gone. Their entire linebacking core was gone. The only thing that remained the same in the Oklahoma defense for their bowl game was their Woody Washington and
Pat Fields.
That's it. They had second, third stringers on their defense playing in the bowl game. So stop with the whole they opted out. They didn't have their full, because that's a fact of life, folks. I don't like it. I don't like it 1% at bit at all. But just like you guys got to suck that up, I got to suck up the opt-outs. What do you think about opt-outs?
So we talked about this briefly in our pregame leading up to OU Oregon. And man, you had mentioned Kirk Herbstreit's video, and I ended up watching it like a couple of days later. And man, I don't like it. I agree with what Kirk Herbstreit said. You come into a season, you play the season from beginning to end. Listen, I get you want to go out and you want to, go to the NFL and you want to make millions. I get that. But, man, when you make I don't know. Maybe that's just me. When I make a commitment to do something, I'm going to see it through beginning to end. This is not something that I'm going to be like, well, I'm not going to go to the bowl game. This game doesn't matter. No, every game matters. No, maybe it's not for a national championship, but the game matters. Any game that your team is playing in should matter to you, and that you should want to be in that game.
And I get it. And the whole thing started with Matt Corral. You know what? Matt Corral chose to stay. I get it. But he's the one that chose to stay and play for Ole Miss. But he won. One player out of everybody that stayed, even if they had a chance to opt out, one player in all of the bowl games was hurt. One, Matt Corral. But he chose to stay. So you can't sit there and go, well, he needed to opt out. We, the fans, don't get to tell the players what to do. If he wanted to stay, folks, he wanted to play. Yeah, he knew what the risk was. He knows the risk from the moment that he signed on with the Ole Miss Rebels and played an entire football season. So don't give me he should have opted out of one bowl game. But but I understand the opt-outs are
But I
going to be
mean,
here.
so you and I are both prior military. It's the same thing. We can't complain about certain things because you know what? We knew the day that we signed that dotted line, we rose our right hand and we took that oath. We knew what we were doing. We knew the potentials of deploying were going to be, or getting stationed away from home, or doing this or doing that. We knew going into that was going to happen. To me, it's no different. When you're going to college, when you're playing in the NFL, doesn't matter what you're doing. You do it from beginning to end.
Yeah.
What you do after that, that's up to you. Then make a decision. But if you're going to make a commitment to a team, you're making a commitment to the team. You're not making a commitment to yourself. You either play for your team or get the freak out. I mean, that's just me.
Right.
You need to play from beginning to end.
Yeah,
No matter what you do in any sport in life, if you're going to make a commitment, see it through.
Yeah, you're right. All right. Well, before we get off here, can we move to Fridays next week? Can we move to a Friday next week?
Yeah, I mean, I'm up for anything.
All right. Cool. So before we get off here, national championship game Monday. Who do you got?
Oh, man, that's you want to say Georgia because you the rematch. They want that payback, but man, I think ever since Alabama got beat by A&M, they have been the best team, in my opinion.
Okay.
Georgia couldn't beat them in the SEC championship game. I'm not sure that Georgia's going to be able to beat them in the national championship game. Nick Saban, there's something about him, and it just comes down to it. I think it's going to be closer. I think Georgia actually makes it somewhat of a game this time, but I'll make a prediction. And well, if you'll give me just 1 second, you go ahead and give me your thoughts and stuff, and then I'll give you my prediction.
God. Every bone in my body tells me to take Alabama. My brain, every bone in my body tells me to take Alabama. However, and it's not people can sit there and go, it's indicative of how Alabama played against Cincinnati and how Georgia played against Michigan. At the end of the day, Alabama and Georgia know each other so well. So well. So again, it's just like we talked about in the NFL playoffs, you erase records. It's no different in college football. You erase what has gone before. Oh, and I talked about this the other day, and I feel like Georgia's kind of got the little brother syndrome against Alabama for a while. A little brother wins every once in a while. OU, OSU, we've seen it. I'm taking Georgia in this, and it's going to be a 1-point game. I'm taking Georgia with a 1-point game. I'm not going to give out any point, but they're going to win by 1. I'll give my full blown thing on Monday. Maybe we can do a Monday right before the big game if you want. I'll get back with you on that one, but yeah, I'm taking Georgia.
Man, I'm sitting here looking at it, and you think, man, the Georgia defense. I mean, they've been dominant all year, and they only average a 9 points allowed. And what's crazy is before the SEC championship game, that was 6.
Yeah.
So getting beat by Alabama bumped that up 3 points, and that was because the score was 41-24. So and Alabama just dominated from top to bottom in that game. Alabama just dominated. So it's hard not to see that game again. The only difference I see is, maybe Alabama doesn't have as much success offensively, but they average 41 points a game. They average almost 50 yards more on offense than they do Georgia. Of course, they also allow about 50 yards more than Georgia does on defense. And to me, it's going to come down to probably the pass game, because the rush defenses, very even. Like both rush defenses, they only allow about 80-ish points, or I'm sorry, 80-ish rush yards a game. So the defenses, I think, are very even when it comes to the rush defense. But you look at the pass defense, Georgia's is a bit better than Alabama's. So it's okay. Who can get the run game going a little bit better than the other? That team's probably going to benefit from the pass game a little bit more. I got to stick with Alabama though. As much as I don't want to, and as much as I'd like to see Georgia win, I don't know, man. It's hard for me to see it. Maybe if we do something Monday, I'll change my mind and I'll have to sleep on it or something. But
Yeah, I'll get with you later on Monday for sure. I'm thinking about doing. I think we should do a Monday one and a Friday one next week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was our OU show tonight. Hope you had fun, as much fun as we did. We got a little ranting out, got a little ranting and raving, got our stuff. But stick with us for the we're here for a while. So I will see you next week. I'll get with you. We'll probably do Monday and Friday next week. So stick with us, guys. Hope you guys have had a wonderful New Year. I hope you had a great New Year as well. And
you as well.
We will see each other next week.
All right, buddy. We'll see you.
All right,
see you guys.
Have a good night. See you.